Good afternoon. Welcome to our Spring 2025 Friendship Village of Dublin Community-Wide Memorial Service. I'm Reverend Fred Arzola, chaplain here at Friendship Village. It brings us so much joy to have so many people with us today as we honor the residents who've passed in the last 6 months and bring comfort to their families and their friends. I'd like to take a moment to remind everyone to please silence your cell phones. Also, please remain after the service to greet the families who are here and remain for refreshments. Special thanks to Capital City Hospice, who worked with our culinary department in providing our refreshments today. To the families and friends of those who lost a loved one, on behalf of Friendship Village of Dublin, please accept our deepest condolences. We hope that today's service of remembrance and poetry and music and ritual will bring you comfort during this difficult time.
Good afternoon. My name's Elaine Palmer. I am the Assistant Director of Nursing over in Alderwood Health and Rehab. I have been a nurse for 14 years, and in those 14 years, I have seen a lot of death. There is nothing that prepares anyone for a loss or how to comfort someone who is experiencing a loss. If I'm being completely transparent, death is what made me want to walk away from nursing. And then 4 years ago, I found my home here. I have the honor of working with a team that serves our residents as they come in at retirement age and thrive, and as they need us on their journey all throughout Friendship Village of Dublin. I am extremely honored to have personally cared for 21 of the 30 residents that we are honoring today. To have been able to care for you as family. Know that their legacy continues and will continue. The memories that we share will be forever remembered, and we only had them for a short time. I am grateful for each of you. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your lives and sharing your loved one with us. My deepest thoughts, prayers, and condolences are with you as you continue to mourn your loved one.
Very nice.
My name is John Bellingham. The poem is entitled Heartbreak. It's written by David White, who was originally from Ireland. Heartbreak is unpreventable, the natural outcome of caring for people and things over which we have no control, of holding in our affections those who inevitably move beyond our line of sight. Heartbreak begins the moment we are asked to let go, but cannot, in other words. It colors and inhabits and magnifies each and every day. Heartbreak is not a visitation, but a path that human beings follow through even the most average life. Heartbreak is our indication of sincerity in a love relationship, in a work, in trying to learn a musical instrument, in the attempt to shape a better, more generous self. Heartbreak is the beautifully helpless side of love and affection, and is just as much an essence, an emblem of care, as the spiritual athlete's quick but abstract ability to let go. Heartbreak has its own way of inhabiting time, and its own beautiful and trying patience in coming and going. Heartbreak is inescapable. Yet we use the word as if it only occurs when things have gone wrong. An unrequited love, a shattered dream, a child lost before their time. Heartbreak, we hope, is something we hope we can avoid, something to guard against, a chasm to be carefully looked for and then walked around. The hope is to find a way to place our feet where the elemental forces of life will keep us in the manner to which we want to be accustomed, and which will also keep us from the losses that all other human beings have experienced without exception since the beginning of conscious time. But heartbreak may be the very essence of being human, of being on the journey from here to there, and of coming to care deeply for what we find along the way.
The rose ritual is a beautifully simple ritual. I will call the name of the resident who passed, and a family member will come forward and take a rose and place it in the vase and then return to their seats. If there's a resident whose a family member was not able to be here today, Carolyn Crawford here will do so representing Friendship Village of Dublin. Graham Ackery. Marilyn M. Barker. Robert Bob Battershell. Bruce Bollinger. Ruth Braun. Shirley Brown. Jane W. Cunningham. Patricia Pat Darling Winkler. Do you want us to put the flower? Shirley W. Dwyer. Rose Damasi. Steve Dolan. James Jim Dowdy. William Bill Evans. Ann Foltz. Mariana Hall. Edith Hansen. Elizabeth Betty Holland. James Jim Hubner. Marjorie Kettner. Shirley Kiger. William L. Bill King. Jane H. Kleppinger. Robert K. Bob Kohler. Judith Annette Long. Norma Lee S. Lee Metzger. Evelyn E. Quick. Nancy Smith. Shirley A. Strauss. Shirley Wagner. Constance Connie Williams. We miss all our friends very much. May their memories be a blessing. Friends, this is the moment in our service when we take some time to share remembrances and stories about the residents who've passed. If you would like to share a story or a thought, just raise your hand and I'll bring the microphone to you. You could remain seated or you could stand up. The trick is to keep the microphone like this, and then we can all hear it.
I'm John Winkler, and my wife was Patricia Darling. Beautiful, her first husband's name, so it was a beautiful name for her. We've been married 19 years. 19 years, that's better. And I just want to say something about her life. She lived a wonderful life. She's 96 years old. She was born in Syracuse, New York, was raised in a church, and about the age of 8 or 9, she accepted Jesus Christ as her Lord and Savior, and became a born-again Christian. She had a wonderful teacher who taught them, her class, how to set table, how to have teas, and she was told by the teacher, don't think you're too young to do service in the church. And when they ask you to do something, just say, yes, I'd be glad to. And that's the way she spent her life. Anytime someone asked her to do something, she would say, yes, I would like to. She and her first husband spent many years with Word of Life, which is a parachurch organization that is reaching young people for Christ all over the world. They have a camp every summer. Thousands come to these camps and are challenged to know Christ in a personal way. So that's her life. I had a wonderful time with her. I was married, I think I said 19 years.
Hi, I'm Steve. My mom was Edith Hansen. She came to Friendship Village a couple years ago, so late in life. She passed earlier this year. She'd be 93 in May. So those of you who knew her here, knew her late in life. I just wanted to focus on celebrating the life she lived. Share a couple anecdotes. She taught me my love of baking. She was a tremendous maker of cookies. Lifelong joy of those, which I've passed on to my wife now. And she was an adventurous person, which you may not know from your time knowing her here. Took up sailing with my dad, who was a Navy guy. On her 80th birthday, jumped on the back of a jet ski just because her older sister already had done it and shamed her into it. And this is the kind of person I remember and celebrate. Last thing, her favorite place in the world was a lake in Minnesota. Excuse me. My grandparents bought a house there in 1938. And we'll be heading back there, spreading our ashes with my dad and our favorite dog here this summer. The last thing I want to say, as I see faces around here, is thank you all in this community, staff, friends, residents who helped her in her last few years here. And I especially want to thank Pastor Fred, who came over to our house when she was there in hospice and gave her peace on her final journey. Thank you.
Since you're here, Fred, I'll make it easier on you. My mom was Shirley Brown. I'm Greg, her son. And I too want to thank the staff, Lane, Fred, everybody else who I see here. Thank you all for what you did for my mom. My mom moved in here in 2006. So she lived here for 18 years, was instrumental in getting the room next to this room for the residents. She was the commissioner of the Bridge Club for years. Loved playing cards, loved giving directions. And I said that at her service. She loved giving directions to me and to the staff, but I know that what she would want to ultimately say, if she could, is thank you so much for all the care that you gave to her throughout her time here. Thanks. Thank you, Fred.
I'm Dot Hecht. I'm a resident here. Came a year after my sister passed away. She was here. She was the wife of Bob Kohler, who we're also honoring here today. That's why I'm here, because they were here. And thanks to Bob Kohler, he and Margie Kittner's husband arranged to have the North Gardens built. So that's why we have the North Gardens. And thanks to somebody else here, now we also have them down south.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian DeMacy. My mom was Rose DeMacy. She had a short time here. She came to Friendship Village in October, and I'm blessed to be her son. I think if you've interacted with Mom during her time here, what I'm going to say is something that shouldn't be a surprise to you. I think of words to describe Mom. I think of caring. I think of compassionate, passionate, funny, a smile that will light up a room. People loved Mom and loved being around Mom, but most importantly, I think of the word love. She loved fiercely. She loved everybody. There wasn't a person on this earth who was her enemy. She loved her family tremendously. Some are here today. Her kids, her grandkids, her great-grandkids. Her name was Rose, so what a wonderful way to honor her today with our Rose ceremony. One of the things I think that will help me, God asks us to find joy even in the hard times. He doesn't promise happiness. He asks us to find joy during the hard times. I'm going to find joy, and I've tried to, in Mom's memory, and what she stood for. And the best thing I think we can do, is try to be a little more like Mom. Love a little stronger, laugh a little more, smile a little bigger, show empathy and compassion and love to the people around us. This world was a better place with Rosie in it. I think I'm going to make a pledge to be more like Rosie. Thank you.
I'm Mary Beth Aaronsburg. I'm Ann Foltz's daughter. And my dad moved in here well over 15 years ago. And they got to experience all the joys of Friendship Village. They moved in independent living. Then they lived in Waterford Place for a number of years. And then in her last time, less than a year really, she moved to Alderwood. But at each point, she got care along the way. They both did. And I know my mom was active in the Residents' Council. She loved music, and 2 of her pianos are still here. You'll see those around Friendship Village. And anytime you play them, think of her, because she thought a lot of the staff and the folks here and appreciated the care that National Church Residences provided in her last years. Really meaningful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Judy Jabot, and I live here. Mine is not a family thing at all, but I just have to share this because it meant so much to myself and my husband when we moved here. We were here like 4 months before he passed away, and so we didn't know very many people at all. But Sonia and Bill Evans, who lived down the hall, were just right there for me and took me to the emergency room and just stood by me while I was with my husband. And I haven't obviously ever forgotten it. But so I just had to share that about a neighbor and how they took care of a new person.
Hello, I'm Cindy Gatens, and I'm a resident here. I was surprised at, I was surprised at the number of people on this list that were friends of mine. It makes me really sad. Bill Evans, Sonia, I want you to know that I used to see you come up and walk through the villas all the time on your daily walks. And for the first time, I saw you all alone by yourself yesterday, and that just made me really think of what a wonderful relationship you two had, and I know you miss him, and I do too. Jim Hubner, I guess I just need to comment on his wonderful sense of humor. When he came over to the health center for a while, Pam wasn't there one day, and I stopped to visit him, and I thought we had what I thought was a really nice 10-minute conversation. And as I went to leave, he said, "Do I know you?" And I wasn't sure if that was his wonderful sense of humor and he did that, or if he really didn't remember me at that point. Margie Kettner was always a good friend. She and her husband were some of the first people that I met here as well, and she was just delightful. And when I see the corner table down in the cafe, Margie's certainly the first person that I think about. Lee Metzger, nice to see her son here. I used to see them come down to the Riverwalk Cafe, and Lee and I used to transport together to hair appointments and that, so we always had fun conversations in that sense as well. Shirley Wagner was one of the first people I met. She was on the Welcome Committee, and she came to the Villa to tell me how wonderful this place was and how much I would enjoy it as well. Connie Williams. Connie and I used to sit together at the nurses' luncheon, the Point, and she was just delightful. So it's nice to see family members here in support as well, and I miss all these folks just as much as you do. Thanks.
Thank you, Judy and Cindy. I want you to know that we had a graveside service at Flint Cemetery last Wednesday where we buried Bill's cremains. And I received over 125 cards since his death, and I appreciate all of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Victoria, and I want to talk about Rose DeMasi. I would say, even though I'm a staff here and nurse, it's been very hard for me. In this profession, it's difficult for us to get attached to the people we work with, but somehow, I just don't know, I got very attached to her, so it's really been a very tough time for me since she passed. I would say friendship with Rose DeMasi has been the shortest, sweetest friendship so far. She even gave me a nickname. And she was very sweet. She was so loved. Most of the people that heard about her when she passed, all they were saying was, "Oh my gosh, she was so sweet. Oh my gosh, she's so sweet. Oh my gosh, she was so sweet." She was very sweet. She was very pleasant. She was very funny, just as the son said. She was very, very sweet. And I just want to say, I really miss her. It's hard. God bless you. Thank you for putting this together. Bye.
Her name is Victoria, and Rose will call her Queen Victoria.
So my name is Barb Holiday, and I work here in the licensed care area. I just wanted to share one thing that just happened this last week. We've had a resident here. Her name was Jane Kleppinger, and she's been here for a very, very long time, possibly one of the longest residents here ever. She's really started through all the buildings. And of course, we all miss her greatly. She was very active in the activity program. But this last week, we had the Riverside Elementary students come. And one of the students ran up to me and very excited, maybe a third, fourth grader, very excited, said, "Did you know I've been here before?" And I said, "No, but I'm really glad you're back." And she said, "Well, I really, really, really want to be with Jane." And I was, without words. But what I really, she did great. We talked through it, that Jane wasn't here anymore. But what I really wanted to say to you is that you all make such an impact on your community. And Jane left a mark on that little girl's life that will never change. She'll always look forward to her time with Jane, remember that time as something special. So don't ever underestimate how much of a difference you can make in people's lives.
Thank you. This week in our Bible study, the Bible study members mentioned Jim Dowdy. They mentioned Jim Dowdy and how much they miss him. And he had, the James Earl voice, right? So he would be like the voice of God whenever he would speak. So we really miss that Jim Dowdy voice. Well, my friends, this concludes our memorial service. We hope that today's service brought some comfort during this difficult time. Please remain to greet the families that are here, and please remain for some refreshments. Thank you all for coming. Have a wonderful day.